I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago, and I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Gary Webb. I am an investigative journalist, and in 1996 I wrote a series of stories entitled Dark Alliance, which was about CIA involvement in drug trafficking.
I knew a man who once said death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back.
We've both been skull and bone, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go on.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the rest.
Number 322.
I sad duty to report this afternoon that my friend and colleague, Tim Russert, collapsed and died early this afternoon.
I may die in this cell tonight or in the arena tomorrow. I am a slave. What possible difference can I make?
And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
What up, everybody? Welcome to Already Dead with myself, Austin Picard of the Underclass Podcast. And obviously, we're missing the homie Jose, but we got Jacob, obviously, to fill in for him. And so we won't skip a beat, and don't worry about Jose, although I will say you should probably, I don't know, send him some kind words, maybe keep him in your prayers at a certain level. Not that anything serious is happening, but yeah, I think he had a fresh litter of kittens or something, and one of them's probably not going to make it. So he's just having to, unfortunately, deal with that. But anyway, beyond that, how are you, Jacob? What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing well. You know, I mean, I've always got this like low level of like just exhausted because of like the constant propaganda and the constant, psyops that we're under. So there's always this like just constant level of just like, yeah, just being exhausted from dealing with it, But other than that, I'm doing fine, man. It actually feels pretty good. Everything. So, although I will say, the first couple of weeks of January 2026 has been a hell of a year already.
Right. My God. It feels like we were just talking privately about how it really seems to me like almost a foreign policy full court press in a way, right, is happening. Right. Meanwhile, we have this manufactured immigration crisis, which is, I feel like, being entirely exploited by design. I think for one reason, obviously, to deliberately destabilize, the domestic U.S. For one, I think escalating the culture war through what I believe to be this manufactured immigration crisis. So that's been just extraordinary, honestly, to witness as far as the cheerleading and right wing and left wing reaction to all of this, and how emotional just everyone seems to be in terms of how deeply they are attached to their ideas, in terms of what seems to be entirely fitting the official narrative behind what happened. And it only raises the level of division in terms of, just the overall bipartisan delusion that we're witnessing, and and I feel like is plaguing our ability to utilize critical thinking skills, which has been widely conditioned out of us. But yeah, it seems like Iran's currency has officially sort of collapsed at this point, and it seemed like this was more than likely, I think, facilitated by the West to a certain extent. And I think whenever you see this interesting level of, obviously, I think there was almost like a playbook that you could point to in a way to see how they're fundamentally facilitating this operation. And not only did we just clearly, pull up Lindsey Graham on Air Force One with Trump, and they're posing for a photo op with "Make Iran Great Again" hats, and
Right.
and it's just, honestly though, for Trump to have come out and instantly utilized this crackdown on protesters, which is allegedly happening, which feels like a major psychological operation and propaganda for manufacturing consent, which is always the name of the game here. And so, yeah, that Trump decides to take action to support Iranian protesters, but yet then claims that this ICE agent has complete and total immunity for facing some sense of accountability, and without legitimately being bogged down in the nonsensical debate in terms of, was the deadly force justified? Were the lesbians asking for it? Fuck around and find out, says the right wing reaction.
Right.
It's like, man, fall into place a little bit more. And your ideologically, captured brain, which can't fundamentally understand that you need to be ethically and morally consistent, right? And man, despite the ideological differences, as I said last week, in terms of Venezuela, right? I don't know. What are your thoughts on what's happening with Iran before I basically, lay out just a brief moment of how I think they conducted this strategic operation in a certain sense to fundamentally disrupt society domestically within Iran, obviously.
So, I mean, ultimately, I think my whole thought on this is like the game plan, right? It seems as though all support for Israel has pretty much ended, right? And Israel is just squeezing out the last few drops of like boomer support, and they're able to end up getting everything they want, except for the very last thing they want is this conflict with Iran, because it's what they've wanted from the very beginning. And so it's now or never for them, right? And so this is why we're seeing it now. I think this is partially why we see what's going on in Venezuela as well, right? Because now we have no reason to worry about oil, because effectively, like, we just took over Venezuela.
We're in the oil business now, Jacob.
Right. I mean, now Venezuela is like, what, the 52nd state, I guess?
Yeah, Trump declares himself president of Venezuela.
Right. I mean, that's basically what happened. And like, can we just take a minute to appreciate how wild that is? Like, we just rolled in there and just said, this is ours now. And then, we're just like, what's up? Come and take it, like,
I'm telling you, it feels like it's precedent setting in a way, right? And everything that's happening at this point, pushing the goalpost into this dystopian direction. And man, that's what's so frustrating, is the people who are just perfectly falling in line with the knee-jerk emotional reaction and instead of choosing their ideological preference, which is very low frequency, and their ability to even understand, the principles attached to what they're honestly facilitating, which is unfortunately a totalitarian, technocratic state, right? To a certain level. I believe that's the ultimate outcome in a certain way. But yeah, I don't know. I remember when I had mentioned Alan Dulles, Alan Dershowitz. Might as well be Alan Dulles. but I'm telling you, like, whenever I saw him essentially pitching the notion that Trump basically had to, in order for him to receive this peace president moniker, and then he would have to remove the basically remove the chains or the lead from the Zionist essentially Israeli state at this moment, and allow them to basically engage in an all-out military conflict with Iran, with obviously U.S. military support, because they can't do this alone, which we should all know by now is clearly the case. But yeah, I don't know, with I mean, you remember we were just as far as when we were talking about how essentially it was Venezuela was basically I think it was there were only 9 countries by the year 2000 who were without a Rothschild-owned central banking system, and in Venezuela and North Korea and Syria, Cuba, and Iran. Interesting. And what did Lindsey Graham just say the other day? Threatening Cuba, right? Which is like, and he also it's just, it feels like it's almost the same sort of notion, just as far as the conceptual outcome of when Lyndon Johnson took over just after JFK, looked at the generals and said, "You can have your war now." Right? It feels that way, but it's almost just more about timing in this context, right? And also the lame duck session, I think, attached to Trump in this current moment. It seems like when you're being screamed at the Ford plant, "Pedophile protector," and his only reaction is to say, "Fuck you, dude," which is just like, it's so fitting for
isn't it?
Yeah, just pedophile occupied government, as I keep saying, right? But
have you seen this?
No. Let's see it, dude. Oh man.
Hola amigos, yo soy su nuevo presidente, el señor Donaldo J. Trumpo. Your ex-presidente, el señor Maduro, is no longer your presidente. He kept talking shit, and fucking around, though, and he ultimately found out, though. Anyway, we're going to make Venezuela grande again. Mucho grande. El bigger, el better than ever before. We're going to drill, baby drill. We're going to have a big, beautiful fiesta, all the tacos you want. Mucho mariachi, sexy mamacitas, and delicious margaritas. And President Trump is going to be el DJ, okay? Muchas gracias, muchachos. And let's make el Venezuela grande again. Arriba el Venezuela.
Just the hair, dude. The hair.
Hola, amigos. Yo soy su nuevo presidente.
Honestly, it's just perfect. But this is memetic warfare, honestly, like as far as the utilizing memes in this sort of sense.
Totally.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. That's what I noticed just in terms of the official White House account, right? When they published that video. If you don't know, now you know. And it just feels like we've entered this cartoonish phase of post-reality in a certain way. And my God, I don't feel like it just legitimately feels like it's almost the plot line of a just ridiculous B movie. Like it's just like you listen to the politicians speak and you're like, who the fuck's writing this script? Like honestly, who's in the writing room and coming up with these lines? This is just fascinating to witness. And
dude, it's like Idiocracy.
Oh God,
straight up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Idiocracy is very much real. Unfortunately, it seems.
Right.
And I saw what was it? Trump basically told the people of Iran, right? I think it was hold on, I have it. So first of all, I think what was most interesting is the report from yesterday that basically Iran protests enter third week, over 500 dead amid a massive and major blackout in the country. And it instantly reminded me of what happened in Venezuela not very long ago, just before this major regime change operation and abduction of Maduro happened. And it almost seems like pattern recognition that we're witnessing the playbook in a certain sense, and how they would almost lay the groundwork for implementing this strategic invasion of some kind, which obviously was just more a covert clandestine operation. But it seemed to be extremely efficient at a certain level. Obviously, I think that doesn't mean there weren't casualties or collateral damage or whatever the term you want to give it. Obvious war crimes, let's say, that violates international law, in my opinion. But that's just the name of the game these days. But yeah, they basically said that protests erupted, right? Oh yeah, let's see that.
Yeah, just for anyone who hasn't seen this, because I actually hadn't seen this until like a couple hours ago. Like, what? Fuck you.
Oh my God.
Fuck you.
Dude, meanwhile, he's out here meeting with President Trump's out here and meeting with the BlackRock Rick, what's his name, Rick Reeder or something, to legitimately consider him as the new Federal Reserve Chair, which is just perfect, right?
Dude,
if you understand how this works. It's just going to lead us further and further into that unfortunate end result. But what I felt was so fascinating though about just as far as, well, actually, hold on, let me find that Alan Dershowitz video before I mention the Minneapolis ICE agent, because I did think it was very interesting to at least get into the fact that I had the Washington Post they basically made this publication, they publicized this strange and interesting story, an article that seemed to reveal this major media machine, which has been given the task, but as far as ICE specifically, ICE's media machine, and how ICE was essentially given the task by the current administration in the White House to basically run their own massive PR, essentially a campaign, right, on behalf of really, it seems they're attempting to do damage control as far as the optics of the operations that they're conducting, but also they're hoping to really run promo, as far as the PR is concerned, and appeal to the younger audience as well, which is interesting. But it just in terms of the internal dialogue and the communication logs, like thousands of communication logs between ICE agents internally. And it's really disgusting to actually see how they are engaging in this essentially content creation, right? So you have content creating ICE agents. What could go wrong, right? When it's just like, it's insane to actually see this happening. But let's see if I can find the Dershowitz video. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I basically made the point anyways. He was pretty much saying that in order for Trump to achieve this peace president moniker, that obviously he had to allow to this major escalation as far as the Iranian conflict. And that definitely seems like as far as the IRGC report that assesses 12,000 killed by the regime forces as far as protesters. I mean, to me, all that will inevitably occur is following the aftermath. We will see legitimate reporting showing some NGO complex involved with these major protests, and how, as far as I'm concerned, I would imagine you have legitimate, crackdowns as far as the Western influence within the domestic Iran, where they are clearly attempting to set this pretext, which would be prioritize, just in terms of assassinating and targeting physically these Iranian protesters, or even probably more so strategic priority targets in terms of the U.S. military, and then claim they're protesters. Who knows? But that's always the case. So all you have to do is look at all you have to really do is look at what happened in Syria there with the white helmets, right? And as far as the sarin gas attacks that Seymour Hersh legitimately made very public in terms of exposing the illegitimate media representation of that event, which was all to smear Assad for what? A regime change operation entirely influenced and activated by the West and the U.S. Imperial war machine. So, yeah, no doubt this will fall into the same category. And I do think that just as far as, I don't know, seeing the language used by Trump himself, and also somebody had mentioned in the chat something about how they talked to an Iranian girl, and she's essentially was crying in tears because she couldn't get a hold of anyone of her family members within Iran at this moment. And I'm just saying, imagine a world where we didn't grow up here, right? And it's just like, man, what is so difficult for people to actually legitimately consider something outside of their own, just as far as being a prisoner of your own environment? You have to be able to at least reflect on the fact that most of us were inherently blessed, right? And I think should be very grateful for the opportunities we have, and but at the same time, not take them for granted and consider them whenever you're actually coming to a some type of philosophical conclusion as far as most of these policies are concerned. And just
most people don't have deep thoughts, though. Like,
you're not wrong, brother.
It's just kind of how it is. Real quick, just for anybody, the blind viewers, or everyone else, the lines are now open, so feel free to call in 1-833-722-DEAD or 3323. So 1-833-722-3323. So go ahead and call in. Lines are open, but space is limited. So make sure if you got something to say, call in, say it, and get in here. First come, first serve.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think honestly, this was one of my biggest fears whenever Trump took office, though, was that Iran was on the table. I mean, if you remember, I was legitimately talking about this from day one since he took office, as far as this is my biggest concern. And now what do we have?
I was really hopeful that he wasn't going to cuck out like this,
Right.
It's frustrating because like, dude, he could have gone down as like the best president ever, and like could have proven to everyone that it's not all fake and gay. And like, dude, he would have been George Washington 2.0, right? Would have went down in the history books. And well, guess what? It's all fake and gay.
Exactly. It's all fake and gay, and they're all pedophiles.
Right.
It's like, it's unfortunate.
I did hope that it wasn't that way. I knew it was that way, but I always hope for the best and prepare for the worst,
Yeah, absolutely. That is really what I try to do as well, as much as I much of the time find myself plagued by expecting the worst almost too often, right? And I think I have to remind myself there are moments we have to take a small minor victory lap, even though fundamentally the end result remains the same. I think the level of people who are fundamentally waking up to some of this is important and valuable, and something I very much cherish. And so I think I don't know, just I did think it was interesting and important to at least briefly touch on what is happening in Iran, because again, it is very concerning, and all that will inevitably occur is just blood sacrifice at the altar of the imperial war machine.
The fact that we're doing it for another country is what's upsetting.
Oh,
I mean,
very much
the fact that it's going to be another war is upsetting.
Right. But I mean, in the end, they'll benefit as far as financially, fiscally, if they legitimately pull off a regime change in Iran, and then rape them of their just resources and rare earth minerals.
I think they will. I think they're going to be successful.
Yeah, same. I do as well, unfortunately.
That's seriously, unfortunately. And I mean, the whole reason Iran is the way that it is right now is because of us anyways. It's our fault that they are the way that they are, because they actually were a democracy beforehand.
Did people forget about the 1950s and the Shah of Iran? And I think they have. And that's the biggest problem.
Right.
But what are we going to do when everyone's starting point is basically, 5 years ago?
Right.
I mean, every 5 years.
What it seems like.
It feels that way. And I mean, more often than not, everything's buried in memory hold by the just doom cycle of this repetitive demoralization right, that takes place, and just as far as the media spotlight is concerned. But yeah, I did think that, and I thought also that acting president of Venezuela, I thought that was hilarious. But you also have Trump. Clearly, his Greenland policy is very interesting, and I think they even claimed that Greenland insisted, apparently, according to antiwar.com, that their defense will be through NATO and reject Trump's takeover. So again, this is a foreign policy full court press, right? And and let alone these veiled threats by the Lindsey Grahams of the world and these usual suspects that are apparently some of his top advisors. He's a great guy, says Trump, which, my God, goes to show, right, a reflection of his character. And don't be fooled is the main point I'm attempting to make. And honestly, on that point, you want to pull up that thing you showed me earlier, that you sent me, as far as Bill and Hillary Clinton, to at least reinforce the credibility of the bipartisan illusion that we're intended to embrace as reality. When at the end of the day, ultimately, it boils down to they're all in the same elite exclusive club, and we ain't in it, my friend. Right?
Yeah, I find it interesting though, because it's like, I don't understand this play, because like if former President Clinton is facing a grand jury,
right?
Like, what are you trying to do? Because I mean, something's got to happen because of that. Like, even if it's a show trial, like, what are they gonna just like put him in, an orange jumpsuit, throw him in jail, and do a photo op and be like, all right, get the hell out of here, don't let them see you,
Right. Yeah, no, I expect no real accountability. I think this is a major political play for you're getting what you voted for, and you'll get that. Honestly, it'll reinforce the base as far as their support in the false paradigm, in terms of, oh, see, he actually did arrest one of the Clintons or something, like that. And lock her up came to fruition. It's like, fuck you.
You just had to trust the plan.
Right. Thanks, Q.
Right.
That's just again, this is how you recorral the fleeing dissidents, right? As far as that are attempting to flee from the propaganda.
In a bipartisan manner, we will move next week in the House Oversight Committee markup to hold former President Clinton in contempt of Congress. With that, be happy to answer any questions real quick.
Mr. Chairman.
Anybody on the committee? Well, in this investigation, President Trump has answered thousands of questions.
Thousands of questions. Fact, he's always talking about Epstein.
You all ask him questions.
Get the fuck out of here.
He answers questions every day.
No, he doesn't.
Well, you can't bring in a current president of the United States, and you all know that. So,
I mean, you could.
President Trump has answered thousands of questions about Epstein. I bet
no, he
today,
hasn't.
at some point,
no, he hasn't.
Some of you all will ask President Trump questions about Epstein. He answers those questions. To my knowledge, former President Clinton has never answered questions about Epstein. And we just had questions because, again, I think anyone would admit they spent a lot of time together while Bill Clinton was president and post-presidency.
Like, okay.
Oh my God.
And then there's that. And then Bill Clinton came out and actually made a statement. I didn't read it because it was like, too long, didn't read, It's like, I just don't really give a shit.
Right.
Because whatever it is, it's just like, I guarantee he didn't even write it,
Right. Yeah. No,
I did find another post. I was going to send this one to you and I totally forgot. But it was a clip of Hillary Clinton talking about the Monica Lewinsky scandal. And this was one I had never seen before. Let's see if I can find it real quick. but they had mentioned something, or she had mentioned something about how like Bill should have never like gotten in trouble for that, like at all. And it's like,
Right.
what the hell are you even talking about? Because yeah, he should have gotten in trouble for that, and so should have you, you know?
Right. Yeah, no kidding. And I did think it for sure caught my eye that obviously they refused to testify, and that's what this is mainly about. And in the House is Jeffrey Epstein investigation, according to the New York Times. But yeah, again, political theater.
Right. This is you know, this is the Nuremberg trial all over again, or it's the church committee hearing, the Rockefeller report on, you know, the intelligence community. Like it's the same fucking thing.
Exactly.
It's going to go
Pageantry.
nowhere. You know, maybe somebody takes the fall, but they're not really even going to get in any real trouble. Maybe a year in prison, if that, and it's going to be like a summer camp prison, you know, and then they're going to be quietly like, you know, let out the back door, or just given a sweetheart deal. Like, yeah, nothing is really essentially going to happen. You know, maybe an Oliver North style punishment for Iran Contra, you know. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we're gonna get.
Right, and they always wait until they're basically dead and gone anyway for any sort of false sense of accountability to take place more often than not. But yeah, just there was basically one other point that I wanted to make about ICE, basically, because I felt like first of all, it's I think really important to understand that there is a diabolical PR campaign attached to what's happening in the streets with all of these videos going viral, and the algorithmic spotlight being granted to that of the immigration enforcement. It's just it seems like the political theater in terms of this propaganda specifically has been greenlit at a very high level, and it's being hyperactive. And I think there's proof and evidence pointing to this as a strategy, right, for public perception purposes. And that's what I find to be so interesting about all of this that's happening in the current moment. Because again, if we have this strange precedent-setting operation that seems to only further push the goalpost into that dystopian direction, then I think we all owe it to ourselves to dig a little bit below the surface and understand how we're being led by the nose in this way, and consider what they're attempting to fundamentally encourage you to interpret this scandalous, high impact, emotionally arousing event, and it always falls within the ideological prison that they want you to reside in. So that's where I find the problem more often than not. And when I did see
we got a call real quick. I'm gonna screen and then I'll be right back.
Awesome, buddy. Sounds good. Yeah, I did think though that just seeing some of the internal dialogue and communications happening there between ICE officials, and I mean, we're talking one ICE official in May of this year, basically, or last year, I mean, obviously, basically said, let's feed the beast first with the good work ICE is doing each and every day. And I just thought it was a hilarious way for them to, first of all, put it in this, just as far as the language that they would use, right? That was very problematic to me. Feed the beast, you know, which the beast is essentially the general public, and influencing, unless they're actually you know, in some strange way, almost showing their cards by legitimately claiming to feed the propaganda machine, or to some level that could have been out of context, who knows. But some of the internal dialogue is fascinating, and we're talking thousands of communication logs that the Washington Post made public. Who we got, buddy?
So we have Brandon on the line. It looks like he actually wanted to piggyback off of, I believe, our Satanic Panic episode. So go ahead, Brandon. What's up?
Hey guys, hey Austin. Nice
What's up, brother?
What's up? So I'm the guy with the little Bobby Hill profile picture that always message you random shit.
Awesome.
And I was sending you that David Berkowitz stuff with the Moloch. Did you get a chance to read that?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, that's fascinating. And I did legitimately put that in the Ultimate Evil episode through the lens of Maury Terry. I remember because he specifically during the interviews with Berkowitz, he brings up the sacrifices to Moloch, and he even references a couple other deities based on the strange blood sacrifices they were conducting there in Untermyer Park and various other locations, one being the Devil's Cave, obviously. But it's fascinating to obviously understand the fact that what they were actually doing in Untermyer. And if you look up, right, isn't it Samuel J. Untermyer? It's just so crazy to look up the sphinxes and these incredible, I think like winged lions and the Freemasonic pillars, which seem to look like what are they called? Not a monolith, right? Is what's the I think that's right. Honestly, what is the major DC monument there that penetrates the sky? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, obelisk. Thank you. That's what I meant. But yeah, you see all these strange Freemasonic pillars and obelisks and things of that nature within the park itself. And I think Detective James Rothstein, he even went to Untermeyer's house and actually knocked on the door, and he came to the door and he answered the door and he refused to even speak to him, and then just shut the door in his face. And so he felt that essentially protected, right, from any sort of real accountability or authorities bringing him to justice in any sense of the word. But they were employing MC clubs, right, for security for these blood rituals they were performing and engaging in Untermyer. And it looks like that's why I think it was a criminal informant for Detective Rothstein who tipped him off, and that's how he discovered these mass graves of German shepherds that were found there. And that wasn't only for the blood ritual sacrifice. I think some of those dogs were used for bestiality abuse, and I think that's unfortunate. But it is the way of the sinister enterprise of child sex trafficking, and just really child ritual murder is a major component to that as well. But oh my God, you know what that reminded me of? We got to play that video here in a second, buddy, as far as the deleted scene from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas that I had someone send me. I think it was an audience member, very cool guy. But yeah, he sent me this this ridiculous deleted scene. We already know the adrenochrome connection to the plot of Fear and Loathing, obviously, right?
Oh yeah.
Which that was basically my introduction. One of my introductions to the concept of adrenochrome was just as a kid watching Fear and Loathing, man. Yeah, and so it was, and then my God, to have Hunter S. Thompson, which by the way, his suicide might have not been a suicide, which I never really thought through that very much until recently. Yeah, I think he was murdered, man. and that makes sense. I think he was willing to talk about. People act like it was about 9/11, but I think it's about far more than that, right?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry to talk so much over you, brother. What else you got for me?
Yeah, I was gonna say that adrenochrome meme goes back further. It's actually a sci-fi book from like the 40s of a lesser-known sci-fi writer that put it in his book, and it's supposedly there's an adrenochrome shot in Clockwork Orange too, which would predate Fear and Loathing, I believe, right? By 20 years, whatever. So that's pretty interesting. Side note, going back to Untermyer, obviously he's involved with like the guys that do the Jekyll Island stuff, whatever. My mom gets these weird reports from the garden, and we're actually going to go visit the garden and walk around, and I'm going to get a bunch of photos and stuff within the year, so that'll be fun.
Wow.
And that dog thing with the Alsatians, Recluse did a show. I don't know if you're familiar with Recluse from the Farm podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did a show maybe 2 years ago about, I want to say it's something like Chronos or something. This guy, I think his name's Daniel Ogden, but he wrote a book about werewolves in prehistory, and he's like kind of a quasi-magician guy, so take it with a grain of salt. But he talked about how that's an ancient practice of raising a dog from puppy to adulthood and then having to kill it. And it's that thing of like the Spartan warrior of like having no attachment. And
hey,
this
man,
is ancient
the SS did the same thing, right?
Years. Yep, they did the same thing. So that's really interesting. All the Alsatian dogs, and then in that report of the people of Berkowitz or whatever that I sent you, it's listed that I think it's Kevin Murphy that was brought on a tour by one of the pimps who was a close friend of Berkowitz, and they go to the park and they're looking for what bodies, and they don't find any human remains, but they do find dog skeletons, and I want to say that was in the 90s. So I have a suspicion that park goes back decades and decades of the same things happening there, because Will Ramsey had a show years ago where he interviewed some detective from New York City, and he was saying that there was a society of oculists, which was like a creepy Masonic organization from like the 1930s, and I can't find any reference to it, but they seemingly were a cult that operated out of the park, and children went missing way back then. So it's like, how long have they been operating out of Untermyer, and what are the layers and layers of cults and stuff that exist there? And then I know I'm going all over the place here, but
well, that's because it's a ritual site, and the more you perform rituals in a particular site, the more power is held onto in that site, and that's why they don't like. They meaning, the practitioners of whatever rituals, they don't like giving up their sites. And that's also why it's so incredibly hard to track these down or catch them in the act, because they don't want to give these up at all. And so they will do anything in their power, metaphysical or not, to be able to hold on to these sites so they can keep doing it generation after generation.
Yeah, I think the same thing happened in Atlanta, and as far as they were using these strange Indian burial grounds and things of that nature where they were conducting. And it's always like, it reminded me of West Memphis too, because it was near a body of water. And I think that matters in terms of the occult ritual aspect of, the cleansing of the blood in a certain way, something to that effect. And yeah, it's really fascinating to trace back the lineage of, and even like understanding that Untermyer, I think, was very much obviously a long-standing ritual murder site, I think, and that's another reason why I think it was I forget the name of the MC biker, which basically he was serving a prison sentence for murder, right? And he inevitably became a criminal informant to attempt to, obviously he had an incentive, so you have to question the legitimacy and credibility of his statement. But I mean, it was essentially self-serving to get time off your sentence, so you'll play ball and you'll name names and roll over in terms of identifying perpetrators that you are well aware of being connected directly into, But you know what? It's just, as far as, I'll never forget this disgusting. Did I hear somebody try and say something? My bad.
No, I think.
I think I'm hearing myself. Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I felt like understanding that there was again, this is very interesting as far as this graffiti artist that was hanging out in Untermyer Park, and he claimed to have witnessed a satanic ritual sacrifice in another park called Van Cortlandt Park, and that was in the Bronx. And so you had many different locations that were geographically I think used in this case, and yeah, so his story, though, it matched perfectly with other similar witness claims of ritual sacrifices that were carried out in Yonkers and Untermyer, involving these prominent cult members, such as, and this freaked me out because all I thought was the Manson connection to Brother John, and how you had Bugliosi, isn't that his name? Who was basically involved with the trial there with Manson, and essentially he gets a
Vince Bugliosi, the author of Helter Skelter,
exactly,
basically the person that pushed that entire Helter Skelter narrative, that it was based on a race war and all that stuff.
Yeah, this guy's a spook for sure.
Well, he's a psycho too. Like,
yeah, that's what I think it was through Tom O'Neill though that I heard that he was basically psychotic in the way that he handled dealing with him, which I did take that seriously as much as I think Tom has his flaws, you know.
Tom is a limited hangout, but
it feels that way very much so. But introduce people to very valuable concepts that I hope they pick up and run with, and don't limit themselves to his more, I think novice level introduction that was inevitably a misdirection in certain ways, right? It is how it felt, but many things were very much left out by design, it seemed, but was it lie by omission, I think is what a lot of people tend to do, but anyway, the story though,
it's time to go hit intermission.
Oh shit, you're totally right. And my bad, do we still have the caller on the line? Because I was just going on one. Hey Brandon, what else you got to say, dog?
Got anything before we let you go?
I got a lot of things.
Well,
really I'll try to condense it all.
Fair enough.
Man, I'm going to hang up and call back, or is that not an option?
Well, we'll just what do you got, and then we've got to hit it to intermission.
Yeah. I was going to say, the guy who designed the sculpture of Prometheus at 30 Rock, Paul Manship, he also did a lot of the sculptures at Untermyer, which is fairly interesting. I'm not sure if he was commissioned to do that. And then the second thing I was going to say, Austin, the Carl Gadusek, the Qing'an leader guy for the Moloch in Untermyer cult.
Yeah.
He was like the Nobel Prize winner. I do think that his nephew might be the showrunner of season 1 of Stranger Things, because the guy's name is
my god,
and I do not see any other person under that, and it just makes you wonder, like, is there kind of MK type stuff in Stranger Things season 1 as a direct result of one of these descendants of a cult member,
right? Man,
and then very last, shit. And then last thing is the Ed Sanders connection, him and Maury Carey being best buds and pen pals and the rest of it. You guys got to tap into Todd from California. He did a whole series with Walter Bosley about getting into the Ed Sanders material and the creepy Aztec cult, where Manson is connected as one of the Chingons, and then how they go interstate and potentially connect from there to Florida to New York City. Like, it does beg the question if the 4P cult connected to Process in California is connected to the people operating in Untermyer.
I think there's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that, it very much seems like they're connected through the Cotton Club murders and all of this. Obviously, I mean, Roy, what was his name? Raiden, right? He basically, he had that upstate New York mansion where they're hosting these sexual blackmail parties. There's no way around it, man. Like, there's direct connections to these priority targeted assassinations, a part of the Cotton Club murders, and all of this, and they're directly linked to Process and directly linked to the cult.
4P, the 4Pi cult is Neo Process.
Exactly.
So it's literally a derivative of, and that's allegedly exactly who Ted Bundy was involved with, was the 4Pi.
Yeah.
That's what
and he didn't do those last murders.
Right. Well, there's actually no physical evidence of any of the murders that he actually ended up going down for. So that's incredibly interesting.
No doubt. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I actually put. I'm gonna find this during the intermission, as far as like there's this specific interesting as far as like the occult symbolic nature of what's being presented at Untermyer, And
Right.
we could get in that for a brief moment. I think all of the well, actually, let me finish this last point, and then we'll get out of here and take the intermission break. But that was basically because it reinforces so much of what you're saying in a way, and it really was because basically the park in Yonkers and then the park in Untermyer were effectively utilizing not only Brother John as a prominent member being involved in the blood sacrifice happening, but obviously we know with Berkowitz and not only 4 Pi but 22 Disciples of Hell is officially allegedly the name of the local chapter there that was meeting at the bookshop, right, the occult bookstore.
Right.
And yeah, so this interesting graffiti artist though, who's obviously remaining somewhat anonymous and goes by a strange name, but he claims that he met a child prostitute in Van Cortlandt Park in Yonkers. And as a child prostitute, the boy allegedly picked up his Johns at night in the park. One night, he was picked up and asked to go to a party, and all he demanded in return was payment. The man gave him $20, and they went to a location known as Frankie's Castle. The boy called, apparently, do what?
Oh, you're just hearing your feedback.
Oh shit! Sorry. Okay, so
speaking of which, real quick, caller, we're gonna let you go, but we definitely want you to call back in on a later show and everything. So we definitely appreciate you calling in, and stick around for the rest of the show and everything. So it's gonna be awesome, and intermission's coming up right here as soon as Austin's done, and yeah, we hope to have you call back again.
That stuff too, buddy. I appreciate you, honestly. I can't thank you enough for sending me some of those sources, and I'm always interested to get another credible avenue into reinforcing so much of what I feel like where if you fall down this rabbit hole, it's for one never ending. Like this is just going to be ongoing as far as the layers and tentacles of the process alone is just so wide reaching and broad in scope. But yeah, I appreciate you, brother. And I just want to say thanks for calling in, obviously.
Yep. Thanks guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Anytime.
Sure, man. Have a good night, man.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
But yeah, that last point I wanted to make, Jacob, and then we'll hit that intermission. Sorry for going a little longer, but
no, you're good. You're good.
Basically, this kid's drugged at a party, right? The party at Frankie's Castle that he was invited to from the Van Cortlandt Park, and so he's only aware enough to recognize what was going on around him. Yet he was unable to fight back or defend himself at any level, and so. It's then described that the young boy, about 9 or 10 years old, was placed on an altar inside Frankie's Castle that were connected to the 22 Disciples of Hell, and 6 men in robes surrounded him, chanting. They proceeded to disrobe when 2 women came out and sacrificed chickens, pouring the blood all over the naked men. The men began to urinate on the young boy and then subsequently raped him orally and anally before killing him as part of this ritual sacrifice. So that's what was happening in Van Cortlandt Park and Untermyer Park at the Devil's Cave, which is why they filled it in. And yeah, we need to understand that these heinous crimes have geographical kind of headquarters in a way where they will ultimately, in this strange, sinister, occult blood ritual, right? Which again, following the intermission, we'll have to show that Fear and Loathing clip because it will only further reinforce so much of what we just discussed in this moment. So, anyway, I'm ready if you are, brother.
Hell yeah! Well, on that note, everyone, we're gonna hit intermission real quick. Phone lines will still be open, but you'll have to wait until after. But we've still got the second half of the show to come. So with that, enjoy intermission, go grab a drink, hit the bathroom, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
Segment 3 this evening is titled The Children and the CIA. We've learned a lot of unknown activities of the CIA in years past, some of them disturbing, to say the least. Tonight, we'll learn of the agency's interest in children, Paul Untermyer of our investigative unit has assembled these facts.
These are home movies taken in the 1950s at a European camp of the Children's International Summer Village, a program designed to bring together children from around the world for a better understanding of one another. NBC News has learned that the CIA was studying these youngsters, some as young as 11, as possible future recruits. The studies took place at summer camps in Hannefest, Norway, and Vienna, Austria in 1959 and 1960. According to CIA documents we have examined, this was Sub-Project 103 of the agency's top-secret MK-Ultra program. San Antonio, Texas. NBC News has also learned that the CIA paid for a study of adolescents here and in two other Texas cities, Austin and El Paso, in 1958 and 1959. It was a study of how youngsters behave without adult supervision. This study, MK-Ultra Sub-Project 102, refers to data being collected on 462 subjects in 7 secondary schools. No child is identified by name.
What is known tonight is this. Authorities have the children and the 2 men accused of abusing those children, and evidence that they may be only part of a larger, dreadful story. CBS News correspondent Rita Braver reports.
Law enforcement authorities suspect they may have stumbled on an international child abuse ring when an anonymous call led police in Tallahassee, Florida to this park. 2 well-dressed men were discovered with 6 filthy, ragged, insect-bitten children, aged 2 to 6.5. A passerby with a home video camera took these pictures as the men were arrested and booked for child abuse. The children were confused, said they'd been traveling for a long time in a van, stopping at camps. Today, police released these photographs, hoping to learn more about the 6 youngsters who said they didn't know where they came from or where they were going.
But at least one of the 6 were sexually abused.
The 2 men reportedly told police the children were being weaned from their mothers and taken to Mexico for a special school for brilliant children. Papers the men were carrying led to Washington, D.C., where police last night searched a residence used by a commune or cult known as the Finders.
The women are always pregnant and they have a child and then they seem like they get pregnant again.
And there was another search at this Finder's warehouse where law enforcement authorities said they found a photographic studio, a computer bank, and at least 3 large bags full of slides showing, according to one source, satanic, ritualistic activities involving torture, bloodletting, and sexually explicit acts involving children. Virginia police are now investigating a farm where the group reputedly brought children.
Well, it looked like to me that was awful, didn't weigh very much.
You don't think they were well cared for then?
I think they were malnourished.
Beheaded, but police say they do have some leads. The FBI and U.S. Customs Service have now joined the investigation, and officials say they're still trying to figure out exactly what is going on and how these and perhaps other children may be involved. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
They were 6 small children. They were hungry and covered with insect bites. It seemed as if they hadn't been bathed for days. One child may have been sexually abused. They were so isolated, police said, they didn't even seem to know what a telephone was. The children were found yesterday in a park in Tallahassee, Florida. 2 men from Washington, D.C. were charged with child abuse. 1 resisted arrest. Police think the men were part of a satanic cult that required its members to surrender their children.
We're getting information that adults are encouraged to join this group, and one of the stipulations of joining this group is that they give up to the rights of their children.
The men said they were taking the youngsters to Mexico to start a school for brilliant children. Police thought otherwise. Today they raided a home and a warehouse in the nation's capital, gathering evidence. Neighbors said for years it seemed something was wrong, something was going on at that house.
About, that there was something was kind of off. One time in particular, I'd say it was probably in the 40s, and there was a little boy kind of wandering around outside, and a woman was out there too in bare feet.
The 2 men are being held on $100,000 bail in Florida. The children ages 2 to 6 have been turned over to state health officials.
All right.
That was killer, brother. You know what's so crazy? That was one of the 2 videos that I had mentioned to you without being descriptive. That was the video, man. I can't believe you put exactly the portion that I wanted to show tonight in the edit,
Hell
which
yeah.
is just perfect, man. Couldn't be better. So I appreciate that for sure. I
First and
think
foremost, we got Shy that wanted to
Shy,
come up.
right?
Yeah.
Rage as well. I saw. I figure we'll probably just do it one at a time to avoid any like complete and total chaos, just as far as the talking over each other. But that's really the only reason. So I'm down.
right.
Whoever wants to come up first, Shy, if you want, I'm in, brother.
Shy up first, and then Rage.
Guys.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
Dude, how are you doing? Because all that I'm seeing is right, just as far as PSYOP season in full effect, and I feel like it is ongoing, and there's no end date. You know what I'm saying? Like this should just be the perpetual, right? It's almost like the season of the witch. Like this just unfortunately is going to plague society at large for I would just imagine the future that we face
We're all
is
fucked.
quite
We'll
grim.
just change this to a baking show, share recipes. And shit. We're just done.
I'm telling you, buddy. My God, how you doing anyway, Shy?
Good. You know, out of all the shit, just one thing that's been popping up in my mind is they've been talking a lot about EMPs. I've been seeing a lot of talk about EMPs lately.
Right.
And it's making me wonder.
Who would that be? Was that potentially one Erika Kirk that was talking about EMPs at one?
Trying to sell it real hard.
In that CIA documentary that resurfaced.
There's actually a couple of them. I've seen a couple like different videos, like one where she's interviewing just one guy, and he's talking about Iran sending a nuclear missile over us and taking out all of our electronics.
Yeah, they do not have that capabilities. If Iran was blamed for anything, guaranteed it's somebody else's missile, and Iran's just getting blamed for it. Period.
Right. Look at this. This is for you.
Israel nukes, by the way. Israel has nukes. So.
That's it. I think that's exactly.
The host of Millennials Rock, and I'm here today with the incredible Dr. Peter Pry. He is the executive director of the Task Force on National and Homeland Security and director of the U.S. Nuclear Strategy Forum, both congressional advisory boards. He has served on the Congression EMP Commission, the Congression Strategic Posture Commission, the House Armed Services Committee, and the CIA. He's also the author of a
Look at him.
Well, thank you for having me to discuss this vitally important subject.
Absolutely. I wanted to, I know we're quick on time, but I wanted to be able to touch a little bit of topics on the grid vulnerability that we have here. The host of
Interesting, Erika. Yeah, man. If people haven't already came to the conclusion that we've been had, right? Let's just say the influencer industrial complex at large is very much effective. And my God, if you're acting as if this isn't a diabolical social engineering agenda, then yeah, again, this is unfortunately you've been deceived and or you're just engaging in this level of deception in terms of the false narratives that are obviously exploiting just any kind of common sense in terms of the right, just understanding the political agendas as they play out before us. But if you haven't come down to the conclusion that Erika Kirk glows like the sun and that this entire situation should be referred to as a major emotion arousing violent false flag to obviously manufacture consent for legitimately
I don't even know if it's manufacturing consent anymore. It's just like taking that shit. They just raping us at this point.
It's not even I mean doesn't even phase them, man, like honestly. And I mean, meanwhile, as I mentioned before, you have Trump legitimately sitting down and interviewing that BlackRock executive that essentially could be our next Federal Reserve chair, and people have the audacity to act as if, any of these political puppets are valuable or worth defending. And yeah, that's just the most unfortunate mindset that you could ever possess, and will only lead to you essentially causing self-harm, right? And you're serving your own worst interest. And man, what a it's strategically effective in the context of the mind war, right? But
all
that
right,
was really just
we have another caller on the line, and this
All right.
caller actually just saw the intermission, the postmortem about the finders, and wanted to talk about them real quick. So go ahead, caller, you're live.
Fantastic. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. I just wanted to mention, I cut in part way and I saw the finders. In my old notes, when I used to do research on them, the same doctor, the psychologist who came down to Florida to interview the children,
yeah,
you'll find he's a psychologist out of Chicago.
Yep.
Okay. He also did something with the Jewish Community Center, the Bernard Horwich Center. Okay.
Yep.
He's also done, I believe, a little work with Mick Martin.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't know this, but they're using like the same psychologist. I mean, that's just a little odd that this guy, and I remember looking up, I believe he put in like a doing business ads. Somehow he got his license to practice in Florida super, super quick. I said, wow, this guy's kind of connected. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
yeah.
I just want to throw that out there. If you guys want to follow that through, I can hit you guys up with an email or something like that with once I find my notes.
You know,
Man, I legitimately remember covering that specifically in the Finders series that I did with Jose. So you'll definitely have to go check that out as well, because I encourage everybody to understand that it fits the exact same profile of the pattern recognition and honestly more than that, the playbook that they rely upon as far as the False Memory Syndrome Foundation being a great example of that as well. I think
100%.
Yeah, one of the craziest things is that basically you have a connection to Arliss Perry's husband, who brings back in the process, obviously. Arliss Perry was brutally murdered in an occult ritual murder on the campus of California, Berkeley, I believe, and her husband's covered in blood. But yeah, it's very strange, and it, apparently he claimed that it was a nosebleed, right? It's like, what are you talking about? But it turns out Arliss Perry's husband, Bruce Perry, he happened to be the psychiatrist in charge of treating the children at Waco. So it's like, man, how many times does this happen?
And more than that, too.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't he up in Canada? I'm sorry to break in. It's hard for me. Wasn't he up in Canada running a certain center?
Yeah, man, this is the way of the world. That's when you
in Canada.
This is why we say Schizo Bros assemble, because the overlapping nature, and again, as I said before, the tentacles of these networks, they're far more just sinister and far-reaching than people would ever imagine, and that's what's so fundamentally important in spotlighting and reminding people of. And I appreciate you calling in with those bombshells, because that's what I love to focus on more than anything, is that smoking gun that clearly proves this is not at all in any way a coincidental. How could you chalk it up to that? How could you essentially have such a oversimplification that will clearly disregard the level of what I believe? I think the way that we put it in the Satanic Panic episode we just did, Jacob, was it's time to justifiably incite a moral panic, right? What are we doing? Why are we taking so long and trying to defend against the notion that, well, it's not that bad, right? It couldn't be that bad. Yes, it is.
Satanists are the only ones that don't hurt children.
Right. I mean, like, talk about a false narrative.
Get the fuck out of here, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Last thing before I go, fellas. Great show, but check out Arliss Perry's dad, too. I believe he had that small church down there,
right
in the Dakotas, if I remember.
Oh yeah, I do.
And there was some weird stuff over there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, but I'm just throwing out some stuff. You guys are the ones. I mean, you guys do the research and such, and just some stuff I don't hear a lot about. And if you guys ever follow up and the thread, turns into something, bring it out, guys. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, my friend. Yeah, that is the ultimate goal for me personally, is to try and continue to really, poke holes in the official narrative when it's deserving and obviously necessary, and provide a far more credible and alternative avenue of just the theoretical understanding of what legitimately did take place in the case, and the level of cover up that is so efficiently and effectively facilitated in the context of all of these scandalous cases as well, which have really what is ultimately being achieved. They are fundamentally escaping justice while engaging in the most sinister form of child abuse you could ever imagine, preying upon the most vulnerable among us. And yet no one seems to be up in arms, protesting, getting shot in the face for accidentally steering away or whatever, for steering into an ICE agent. You're not fucking care. I mean, why are you that upset about a manufactured immigration crisis, which is clearly intended to cause this level of disruption in modern society? And you're taking that bait, but you're not overly concerned with this just disgusting pedophile underworld that are just in the most sadistic manner preying upon our children, man. And
making it make sense,
Right. Exactly.
Guys,
brother.
thank you for having me on. Get going with the show.
Yeah,
Love it.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
thank you so much, man.
Thank you for calling in, and definitely call in again.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too, brother. That was fun. I like anybody, man. It's funny.
You know what I kept hearing the whole time, him dropping some of these truth bombs, is just this.
Exactly. That's perfect. Oh my god. Yeah, I think I thought that in the investigative leads memo of the finders, right? Like, that's something I've wanted to talk about for forever at this point, and beyond him just really bringing in just bringing up the context of the finders, obviously, but before I pivot into that, I thought it was at least interesting to mention the Untermyer Park connection there with one David Berkowitz, obviously, because it seems like the group that Berkowitz directly belonged to, that not only was it 22 Disciples of Hell, but also the Children, right? Interesting name. I think more often than not, we're getting this almost the occult context of I think we've said it before, kind of the almost the vampire nature of you have to invite them in. They almost seem to reveal their intentions at face value at times, right? It almost seems unbelievable that they would go to this level of revealing their legitimate I don't know, agenda in a way. And so what I saw though was basically that I mean, consider the name of the finders, right? Just that alone. Right. What are they finding? They're procuring children for the CIA, basically, as a cutout. But so the Children is the name of the group that Berkowitz belonged to, and I believe he himself claimed to have been providing young boys to Roy Cohn and his parties there as well, which were for sexual blackmail purposes. But the Children would often meet at night at Untermyer Park in Yonkers, and this is where they would take part and partake in the black masses and ritual sacrifices, right? And so this park, complete with sphinxes, Masonic twin pillars, Untermyer was built on occult principles, filled with symbolism relating to elite secret societies. Very sinister site, obviously. It overqualifies, in my opinion. And Untermyer was built by Samuel J. Untermyer, as I said before, extremely powerful figure in U.S. history who was deeply connected with the occult elite. Maury Terry himself claimed Untermyer was a member of the New York City Temple of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Interesting. Obviously, one of the most powerful occult secret societies of its day at the time, very influential at least. And it was during the 70s when Untermyer was was in an advanced state of neglect, as the story goes, and became a meeting place for the children who met in an abandoned building they called the Devil's Cave. So that's where you get basically, the context there. And this is when he's interviewed by Terry in 93. And Berkowitz describes what happened in the Devil's Cave. We had a spot where there was like a circle with rocks. You could actually feel like a force out there, a presence out there in the darkness. We began to hear more and more conversations about witchcraft, about black magic. We were really having little religious services almost. I did begin to witness some animal sacrifices. We were at a park, I guess it was Untermyer Park. We had this circle formed and we said, okay, let's start chanting now. Let's call the names of the demons. Let's call Satan's name. Let's call Lucifer. Let's bring him. Let's summon from the netherworld, from the air, and let's ask him to anoint you, to knight you as one of his royal soldiers, to do his bidding, to do his will. There were definitely lots of arsons. These demons wanted fire. So that's why you had New York City being essentially plagued with arsonists during this time of the Son of Sam. And then Maury Terry asks him, was this Lucifer? He says, yes, it was Lucifer. It was Molech, another god who wanted fire sacrifices. So that was obviously what the first caller was referencing at a certain point there. And definitely seems like a part of the initiation rite involved here was that you had to really make a pact with each member and sign in your own blood in a way. And I think the new recruits were basically carefully screened as well, and seemed to have to have provided pictures, right? Supplied pictures of their closest family members and friends as well, and their addresses on top of that. So all obviously what were the items being used for? Well, if necessary, tools for blackmail, my friend, coercion, and eventually physical harm should one attempt to betray the group, which is exactly what Berkowitz claimed later when his throat was cut in prison and they attempted to assassinate him, right? And then he kind of fell silent a little bit more than he had once before. And he claimed it was out of fear for the life of his father, right? At the time, I think it was his father, because that was only really the only person who was close to him at the time, and refused to allow just the scandalous connection to the murders themselves and the Son of Sam to destroy the entire, I guess, relationship from between he and his son, right, as far as the father was concerned. So I found that interesting. But anyway, that's really the main point I just wanted to make, to reinforce the Untermyer connection and those strange, occult symbolism that obviously existed there. So predating the Devil's Cave in many ways, I think that was more than likely formed on behalf of the cult, if not just I'm sure it was there, and then they just used it as a sacrificial chamber of some kind. But I think now's the perfect moment to really show that video, though, of the deleted scene from Fear and Loathing. I think you guys
bring it up.
All right. It's freaked me out a little bit, and not because it was anything that was unexpected, but just the fact that they obviously deleted scene, but at the same point, I found it very interesting, the context of what they claim. And even after the conversation, because remember the fact that when they were in Vegas, right, in the plot of the film, I think there was a major police convention that was that was being hosted. If you remember, when he's checking in at one of the first hotels, it's nothing but cops in the lobby. And you have
that's the time when he's doing the ether, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I forget which. I think it was the ether, though. I can't remember now exactly. But either way, he definitely was messed up. And the guy from like Law and Order was the clerk, right? At the front desk, and he plays this ultra gay guy. It's honestly really funny, but yeah. So let's listen in on this. This is so nuts to me. Hold on, do it. Yeah, 313. Okay.
Rum and ice?
Can you hear it?
Oh yeah.
California boy. Yeah. Your buddy here is just telling me all about.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Oh,
right.
Christ, they're everywhere, man. Nobody's safe. Sure as hell not in the South. They like that warm weather. Yeah. In LA, it's out of control. First it was drugs. Now it's witchcraft.
Witchcraft? You gotta be shitting me, man.
Wait, trust me, you don't know real trouble till you have to face down a bunch of these addicts gone crazy for human sacrifice.
Human sacrifice? That's a bunch of science fiction stuff, man.
Not where we operate.
Reality is in Malibu alone, these goddamn Satan worshippers kill 6 or 8 people every day. They'll take people right off the street if they have to. All they want is the blood.
You know, just the other day we had a case where they grabbed a little girl right out of McDonald's hamburger stand. She's a waitress, 16 years old. A lot of people watching.
What happened? What'd they do to her?
Dude. Jesus Christ, they chopped her goddamn head off right there in the parking lot and cut all kinds of holes in her and sucked out the blood.
Let me get
Dude, Benicio is so fucking funny, man. He's been. Do what?
They're pretending to be cops in that scene.
Yeah, exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
So this guy's obviously a cop, and they're just putting on a show for him in a way. And
with them.
yeah, they're fucking trolling his ass so hard, but at the same time revealing the truth in a very valuable way to I think through pop culture as a vessel in a way. And I will say, obviously if you look at the artwork of my Patreon and my YouTube, that's Gonzo art. There's something I've loved that artwork from Ralph Steadman. I think is honestly brilliant. But there's a lot of that I always appreciated of the Gonzo journalism. In fact, it's interesting because I also feel like it was at least it felt like almost the strategic outcome of Tavistock 2.0 and the Esalen Institute, clearly, as we were discussing privately, obviously. But let me see, there was a minute mark. I think 6:07 will stop it because it basically runs out of this scene. But
telling me they pull a little girl out of the McDonald's hamburger stand. They take her out in the parking lot. All these people standing around. Cut her head off, suck the blood out. Nobody does a goddamn thing.
What could they do? The guy that took the head was about 6'7", 300 pounds, packing Lugers and M16s.
They just ran back out into Death Valley, same place where Manson turned out.
Like big lizards.
Every one of them start naked.
Big lizards.
Right.
They're all veterans.
Veterans?
Yeah, the big guy used to be a major in the Marines.
Yeah, so they drop a lot of insinuations. They drop a lot of, like that adrenochrome scene. Like they don't say, but he's like, "Wait, you could only get this," and he's like, "Yeah, I know." Like,
from the adrenaline gland, yeah.
And they're like, so it's funny. It's not surprising that they would drop this scene because it would kind of might connect it for people that might
exactly.
Well.
But the child sacrifice is interesting because it definitely would be reinforced with that scene as well. What were you going to say, Jacob?
So something that I had brought up to me the other day is that specifically with Hollywood, but it's really one of the forms of revelation of the method, and it's the most common form of revelation of the method, and it's the use of sarcasm. Right. And in fact, have you guys ever watched like any of the celebrity roasts that like Comedy Central used to have?
Yeah. Remember the James Franco roast, honestly, because before Franco got canceled.
the Bob Saget roast is the one that comes to my mind because there's that joke from Gilbert Godfrey about Bob Saget and how Bob Saget raped and killed a girl in 1990. Right?
Yeah.
If you go back and go listen to that, he's just literally telling everyone that Bob Saget raped and killed a girl in 1990. And it's like, oh my God, that's so funny. It's such a joke. It's so edgy. No, that's literal sarcasm that they're using to literally tell you the truth.
Yeah. The Rob Reiner one too, where Billy Crystal was like, you were around kids too much type shit. Like, what's that?
Right.
Dude.
And no, and that's literally how they do revelation of the method. It's somebody, what did they say? It was sarcasm. Sarcasm is the voice of Satan. is what they told me. And I was like, that just makes so much sense. Like,
right.
And you can even go back and go like pull up Johnny Carson. He does the same thing. There's a clip of him talking to Drew Barrymore about Steven Spielberg, and Johnny Carson's asking Drew Barrymore about Steven Spielberg and how close he likes to get to the girls, and what he was doing to Heather O'Rourke and stuff like that, which, in case nobody knows, Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, and what's the other fat dude he's in prison now?
Weinstein?
Weinstein.
Yeah.
All three of them molested Heather O'Rourke until she died. So,
of course. Yeah, I know. And that's why another reason why, obviously, I cannot stand Candace Owens giving Weinstein a little bit of a rehabbed image there and trying to attempt to legitimately save face for Weinstein. Man, that's disgusting. That you don't have an ethical bone in your body if you're willing to do something like that. But yeah, let's play the rest of this so I can get it off the screen real quick.
We know where he lives. Can't get near the house,
No, not a major.
He wanted a pineal gland.
He's saying that this guy was a Marine, right? Essentially, that as if they're investigating as officers this potential McDonald's murder and child sacrifice in the parking lot, and they were acting like he was armed to the teeth, right? Had Rugers and all this shit and M16s, and so nobody intervened is essentially what they're saying, and so yeah, they follow up with this. It's interesting.
Turned out like big lizards. Every one of them stark naked.
Naked?
Yeah, naked except for their weapons.
They're all veterans.
They're all veterans.
Right.
That guy used to be a major in the Marines.
Used to be a major in the Marines.
Yeah.
Major?
We know where he lives. Can't get near the house,
No, not a major.
He wanted a pineal gland,
Really?
He wanted the penal gland, isn't that what he just said?
Yep.
So big when he quit the Marines, he was just a little guy.
Usually it's whole families. During the night, or something don't even wake up until they feel their heads going, and then shit, it's too late. Happens every fucking day.
Yeah.
3 more rums, plenty of ice, and maybe a handful of lime chunks. Thanks.
Are you guys with that police convention upstairs?
We sure are, ma'am.
Thought so. I never heard that kind of talk in this bar before. Jesus Christ. How do you guys stand that kind of work?
I like it. It's groovy.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Somebody's got to do it. That just kills me right there. But Terry Gilliam obviously directed that film, and he's one of my all-time favorites as well. As far as he back obviously Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and he legitimately has done. He did Brazil, which has very many occult connections to as well, right? It's like this strange dystopian future. It's interesting. Really, Robert De Niro's in it, and it seems like almost 1984 sense of the Big Brother aspect of how the state plays this strange role, and I think they engage in priority abductions, basically, right? And essentially, they'll just like break into your home, abduct you from your family, and no one will ever see you again. And there's no accountability that you can engage in whatsoever as the family following up. And that's a very interesting film. Then there's another one he did called Tideland, right? Which has Jeff Bridges in it. He's like a heroin addict, but he has a little girl that he's raising, right? And basically he's got the little girl conditioned to shoot him up with heroin. right?
Oh,
So
jeez.
that's how much of a degenerate he is he's using his young daughter she knows like the perfect science of how exactly to draw the heroin and the plunger and everything, and then she goes over, she
all
gets
the money for this type of shit, yo. Like, think
That's
about it. It's like,
right.
oh, that's great. Here, $50 million. Make that fucking shit.
Dude, it's like the most, it's a very dark version of Alice in Wonderland. That's what it is. You go and watch it and you realize what it truly is almost reflecting. But there's a lot of occult symbolism in that one. I'm definitely
Alice in Wonderland is in and of itself a dark story,
no doubt,
and it was always meant to be as well. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it's
I agree.
no surprise that it ended up getting used for programming and still is used for programming today.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. I think it's almost like the Catcher in the Rye in a way. You know, it's essentially like a mind control manual. In reality, oh yeah, he did 12 Monkeys as well, right? Which I love. It's in Time Bandits, but 12 Monkeys was awesome. If you watch that, it's
Right.
basically about time travel, and Bruce Willis is in it, and Brad Pitt plays this psychotic, like very interesting. He's like institutionalized and develops this. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen that one, but I love that movie. I think it's underrated for sure.
Talk
But
about Circle of Trauma, that movie and shit.
Oh, no doubt.
Him seeing himself get killed as a child and shit. You know,
Exactly.
as a child seeing himself get killed as an adult and shit. Just really
It's crazy, right? I mean, holy shit. But I will say it's probably one of my favorite Brad Pitt roles ever. Just as far as like, he is legitimate. He plays a great coup. He was just kind of spinning off the planet, but also like intelligent enough to hatch together this sophisticated plot in a way, right? And yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of that. But anyway, I think let's just see. I saw like what I thought was so crazy, and I think will reinforce a lot of what we've been discussing, is that just in terms of the pedophile connection, right, to just this over representation. We're seeing this far too often. And now what do we have? We have, following this major scandal in Minneapolis in regard to ICE, right? Effectively, I feel like that was a major emotion arousing violent false flag, if you want to put it that way. And that doesn't mean someone didn't die, right? But it definitely means that you need to question your reality and be very careful, because I think both sides of the political aisle are definitely being gaslit within this framework, and they're all taking the bait, right? Which fundamentally disrupts any ability to actually hold power accountable. That's just impossible. And that is why the system is structured in this way, and they rely so heavily upon this deliberate deception. But
listen, I'm gonna let Rage come in. I'm gonna step out.
Yeah. I was just about to ask if you had any parting words, parting thoughts.
No, it's too much. You guys have brought too much for me to like. I got
right on, dude.
Be safe, guys. See you later.
Yeah, you as well.
It's basically the ICE employee, right, who was arrested in this strange operation. Oh, look at Rage. What up, dog?
What up,
How
dude?
you doing, brother?
Does this look familiar?
Yeah, that's the one, buddy. Yep.
Hell yeah.
I fucking thought so.
Yeah, it's a good movie, honestly, though. I do enjoy it, but
yeah, I've had this movie for so fucking long. It's insane.
Right. I'm telling you, there's something about Gilliam's style. I think is very raw.
It's crazy because
right.
I guess I never looked into the shit, and that's with Fear and Loathing. I never looked into the director or whatever. That's like one of the movies, that and the Doors movie. I saw that on VH1 like a long time ago in high school once.
Yeah,
that's the reason I fucking like went balls deep into acid, because of the Doors movie and Fear and Loathing. Had no idea it was the same motherfucking guy.
Well, that wasn't the same guy that did The Doors. Actually, that was
No,
Oliver
The Doors
Stone.
is the other guy who's with the CIA. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, who did JFK and Natural Born Killers? Though I do love, man, Natural Born Killers. One of my,
Yeah, that's another
that was a
one.
Tarantino script, though. You know, you realize that? Yeah. Same
Not
with
enough feet.
What's
same-
interesting about Natural Born Killers is it's supposed to be a commentary on media and how it covers violence and stuff. And then
Mhm.
there ended up being people that committed violence because of that movie.
Is that
That's
before
hilarious.
Columbine?
not
I
sure
think
when
yeah,
that
I
is. In
think
the
I think
90s.
so. Yeah,
I
because it
think they
was
mentioned
94 and 95.
They mentioned like watching Natural Born Killers and being
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
94. Yeah.
Yep.
94.
So I'm pretty certain they mentioned watching that fucking movie and
right
that being one of the fucking things they're
Oh,
like
yeah.
let's do it.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah, I think also another Tarantino script was probably my favorite love story of all time in the feature film form, and that is True Romance. It's so
I thought
good.
you were gonna
Dude.
say Shrek 2.
No, True
Yeah.
Romance. Legitimately, I love that film, dude. And
True Romance.
yeah,
Which one's that
Christian
one?
Slater is in it, and Patricia Arquette, and basically Gary Oldman. It's so funny. It shows the range, right, that Gary Oldman possesses as an actor in this movie, because he plays like this. He basically goes blackface. It's kind of hilarious, and but at this, he's like a Jamaican drug dealer. Honestly, oh yeah,
A role of a lifetime.
Christopher Walken's in it. You have what's his name from damn it, what's the oh shit, he's connected in with the Laurel Canyon scene. He's one of the most
That narrows it down.
yeah, I know, right? But either way, it's just oh yeah, Brad Pitt's in that one too, by the way. He plays a major stoner. He's like smoking a Gatorade bong in who's that Jewish dude with red hair that always runs off the mouth with retarded takes all the time?
Seth Green?
No. Damn, you guys are killing me, man. Oh my god. Yeah, he's always in the political sphere, attempting to have a hot
Michael
take.
Rapaport or whatever.
Yes, that's the one, dude.
Yeah.
So he's in the film as well.
Stand that guy.
Yeah,
There used to be a show called The War at Home.
Dennis
and he was
Hopper.
fucking
Thank you,
hilarious in it.
PJR. Thank you. Yeah, Dennis Hopper plays Christian Slater's father, and he has this honestly this legendary scene with Christopher Walken as this Sicilian mob leader, essentially, or at least like one of the members of the higher upper echelon of the criminal syndicate organization or whatever, and they just have this incredible sequence of dialogue. It's phenomenal, and it's basically Dennis Hopper's character. Well, I won't ruin it, honestly, but dude, go check it out. It's one of my
I always
favorite
get
films ever made.
True Romance confused with American Beauty. That's the one with
Oh God, Kevin.
I don't know why I get
yeah.
them fucking confused, but
Dude, that
like,
freaked me out when I watched that, and
what a
that's
great
the same
film, though,
director.
but still, it's crazy.
I mean, it's
Looking
very
back
well
on it now.
directed, but yeah, totally normalizing that in a certain way, as far as engaging in essentially underage sexual assault, in my opinion, right? But I don't know.
It was a different time.
Yeah, but Kevin Spacey, meanwhile, is out there like doing some strange dance for the Zionists out in Israel before
my
he's
God, dude.
welcomed
Like,
back into the
how
clique.
broke can this motherfucker be? Like, it's
so
crazy. I
bad.
saw something today. It was like about Mr. Beast, and he's like saying, "What was it?" Basically, I can't think of the whole fucking thing, but he's like, "I'm borrowing money." Everyone says, "But you're a millionaire." He's like, "That's net worth. I'm literally borrowing money," and
God.
shit like that. But I was thinking, and I guess it's pretty. It's probably truer than most people think as far as like celebrities, and that's why they do all that dumb bullshit all the time. And that's the
Right.
same with what I recognize it more closely to, because that's just what I've been noticing for the longest time is like musicians and the record labels. And it's like, especially watching MTV Cribs growing up, And
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, then finding out they just fucking rent out most of those houses. Like, there's not the fucking real houses.
Like 50 Cent.
Yeah, and it's just like
that's why
the record label
Redman
just gives you stuff, and you.
That's why Redman's episode
Yeah,
was
his.
so
I
great.
remember watching Redman and his apartment, and I was like, man, this is bullshit. This is fucking boring. I don't want to see this. It's a fucking bullshit ass apartment. And I was like, and realizing now, I was like, man, I was like fucking indoctrinated in I don't want to see a normal fucking house. I want to see the crazy bullshit. Open your fucking fridge and show me all the vitamin water all organized like a motherfucker. Like, who in the fucking right mind ever has their fridge and like some shit like that? Like,
all right,
looking back on it now, it's crazy.
Rage, what do you say? Which one would you choose as far as should we discuss Operation Creep and an ICE agent who's now an arrested and out, at least was outed as a pedophile, right? Who had solicited sex from a minor in a sex sting known as Operation Creep. An ICE agent who said, "I'm ICE, boys," when he got arrested, dude. I swear to God.
Like in some like he's like his last name's Clinton or something. Like, whoa.
It's just so crazy. And so we have that. Or we could discuss the U.S. The sonic weapon used on Venezuelan troops that may cause them to bleed at the ears.
Yeah, I would think because the ICE one is kind of a dime a dozen if you think about it. Like that could fucking happen tomorrow again. It's probably happening right fucking now.
I know, man. I just felt like the only reason.
We have time, we'll like but the when I saw that shit, I was like, oh, you got to be shitting me with the fucking sending. That's what was it in Cuba where they did the same thing and everyone had fucking headaches?
Well,
was it in Cuba?
Havana syndrome, yeah, Havana syndrome.
Yeah. It's like, dude, this is a fucking. I mean, by now, yeah, they could probably make it like that South Park episode where they do the brown noise and everyone shits their pants. Like
that's real, by the way. That's
dude,
real.
That just happened in the Naked Gun, basically, as well, right? The new Naked Gun.
Did you watch
it? I watched it just because.
The new one is
Sam
hilarious.
It was very funny. It was very
surprised. Unless anyone knows it's on these streaming things, I have yet to find it.
Paramount.
I think it's on like Amazon or something. I don't know. I can't remember now.
It's on Paramount.
Well,
oh, that's
my son's mom stopped paying for everything, so I'm fucked.
Real quick before we move on too far, this is exactly what I was talking about.
Oh God. So I remember this now. I've seen this,
and it was great. This is like when I found out Bob Saget was like a dirty comic.
Yeah. Well, and he's more than a dirty comic.
Still younger. Yeah, I'm 30, but like this, you're just like the Full House guy, but this dude was a dirty motherfucker.
We picked Bob Saget, who raped and killed a girl in 1990.
Dude, he's just telling the truth.
That Bob Saget raped and killed a girl in 1990.
Half an hour a week.
Wow, he's really
laughing. Off the street.
That's actually a really funny
show.
You didn't just kill sitcoms, you raped them and left them for dead in a ditch.
Instead of Ashley and Mary Kate, for Michelle, as a 3-year-old kid, they gave me a doll to talk to for rehearsal. A rubber doll, not even plastic, like a test dummy. It looked like a porn doll. It was just missing the stuff.
Sure.
You know, all those. You ever done that? You ever been with one of those things?
Well, not one that I would hold that would mimic a 4-year-old, but yeah.
And then I just grabbed it, you know, and I just threw it on the bed, and I just started pretending, you know, that I was.
What the hell, dude? Yeah, Monster, right? I think. Monster.
I hope people talk about me at my funeral like this.
Monster? That dude was a monster, man. Yeah, I'll show up, Rage. I'll give a speech.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pay a super gay guy to show up to your
and just start crying like crazy.
Yep, crying, but saying nothing.
Making out with your corpse in an open casket. That's what I want.
Get in line, brother.
So here's the hilarious, right? I think it was you, right, Rage, that linked to the breaking news of the powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees, bleeding through the nose and vomiting blood during the raid to capture Nicolas
And that's all
Maduro.
they admitted. I'm sure there's more.
I know. So I looked into it briefly just to, gain a little bit of a window into. I was trying to provide myself with some more context in terms of apparently there's additional basically coverage and media attention that I think it was more than just CNN, obviously, but there were I think it was an article from The Hill that I pulled that talks about how Biden's Pentagon secretly purchased this device that was linked to Havana syndrome. And that is, so this is directly connected. Like in no way was it just like it sounds like Havana syndrome, even though that's literally what we said.
That was my first thought, dude.
Exactly. The first thing that we thought as well. And I think it was on like Sunday night, me and Sam and Brad, we had the exact same conversation, right? And then look what we've come to find out, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, there's a direct connection into the Havana syndrome, and so if you look through though, U.S. used sonic weapon on Venezuelan troops, and I think the report was originally shared by Leave It, apparently, which is interesting. But this is witness accounts from certain troops from Venezuela, and basically one of them claiming that it was during the mission that they basically utilized this sonic weapon warfare to incapacitate the opposition forces. And so Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says she was the one who shared the eyewitness interview on X, right? And
I wonder where she's from.
Well, she's the current White House press secretary, right? So it's like, interesting that she's using her X account to encourage her followers to read this statement, right?
Does she celebrate Christmas?
Who knows, bud? Who knows? But the witness in the interview, though. Stop it, guys. So the witness in the interview claims to be a guard who was serving at the Caracas military base where the U.S. captured Maduro. He says, we were on guard, but suddenly all our radar systems shut down without any explanation. The witness said the next thing we saw were drones, a lot of drones, flying over our positions. We didn't know how to react. The witness then described watching roughly 20 U.S. soldiers deploy out of roughly 8 helicopters over the base. And he says they were technologically very advanced, the guard said. They didn't look like anything we fought against before. We were hundreds. Yeah, we were hundreds, but we had no chance. He said they were shooting with such precision and speed. It felt like each soldier was firing 300 rounds per minute. What the fuck happened here?
This sounds like I'm like half. This is bullshit, like propaganda, like saying like, oh, don't fuck with the U.S. They got this like crazy type shit. But also, I totally believe the supersonic bullshit, like crazy Havana syndrome. I believe that for sure. I don't know how much of the fucking these guys are coming out and these, but then shit, fuck what it could also totally plausible. So, but like it sounds like scare tactics,
right?
So
the way they
actually,
go ahead, Jake. Sorry,
I have a document because I'm always searching all of this stuff here in Utah, right? Because like I said,
but I'm taller.
And I found a document. It's a research document that came out of the University of Utah back in the early 2000s. They were testing directed energy weapons, and what they developed was directed energy weapons that will liquefy your insides.
Oh yeah, that's what microwaves are doing. That's what fucking Wi-Fi is doing right now to me.
Yeah, exactly.
No, this is literally not like a slow thing. Like literally,
no, yeah, it's a slow thing, but I believe
they shoot you with a ray, and it happens instantly. It like liquefies your insides.
Yeah, this is after the heart attack gun.
long after, but
right.
I mean, these weapons exist. They're out there, and they're
in Indiana Jones.
I mean, it is fascinating, honestly. What they were fundamentally just these very, I think, as far as what they were actually testing at the Cabazon Indian Reservation, if you remember that connection. And by the way, holy shit, dude. Well, first I'll make that claim, but it was
I saw the Twin Towers liquefy. Their phones liquefied like a motherfucker.
Oh, hey, on that note,
no, that was disintegration.
Yeah, absolutely. But I should be having on finally on Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I should be having on finally Richard Gage to have that conversation on 9/11 and the controlled demolition of the towers and Tower 7, and it should be a lot of fun. I think he's
sound like a lot of
he has extraordinary insight in terms of the presentation he has to offer, as far as really lending credibility in every sense of the word to this alternative theory that matches far more than that of the official narrative, as far as how those towers came down in their own footprint at free fall speed. Just shut up, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for that conversation. So hopefully,
all that crazy shit is like, it's like, what's the point of war? Like, they're like, yeah, dude, you know, people are doing all this, the old bare bones of war. When it's like, do they really need to, like, it's all, now you know it's like a fucking kind of a blood sacrifice when you're sending these dudes out for the fucking bare bones of, you know, back and forth in the goddamn trenches and this and this and that, when you know you could just go liquefy their goddamn body from a fucking radio tower.
Right,
and
dude.
not even have to lift a fucking finger. Like, you don't have to send anybody. You don't have to send a human. And you're just doing this whole back and fucking forth for I would say 30 years, you know, just to be like on the base of it, but probably longer than that.
Oh,
and this is like, and they still do it. And like, it doesn't have to be done that way, but they're doing this fucking pretty much witchcraft at this point. Like how Sam's always like, he says some shit about like, they just, it's would be witchcraft, but they just made it like normal. I'm paraphrasing terribly, but basically that's how it is. It's like, oh yeah, they're generalizing what used to be shit that we're not supposed to do, and they're making it they're just doing it fucking like it's nothing. Oh, let me flip a switch and just like disintegrate your fucking body. Like, oh my god, did that guy just turn into dust?
I'm telling you, it's far more sophisticated as far as what the advanced technological capabilities of what they can utilize, right, for this context. And I totally believe every word that you had essentially mentioned there, in terms of the level of what they can potentially achieve and what they're capable of, as you had mentioned, Jacob. Like, absolutely, I've read some just extraordinary documentation as well that lends a lot of credibility to that too, and seems and the reason I brought up Cabazon was because they had this joint venture, right, and essentially Cabazon Indian Reservation and Wackenhut Security Corporation. And what was it for? To develop esoteric weapons. That's what they called them. Esoteric weapons, like the rail gun.
So scary.
And
That's
even
so
included
scary.
biological warfare. What do you know?
Yep.
So, yeah.
And what did you have to do to get there? Like, you didn't just, we stumbled upon this. It's like test after test after this didn't work, that didn't work. What kind of, and it's, you know, like it's maybe it isn't, maybe it is science, or maybe it's fucking like you know, spiritual kind of esoteric fucking crazy. That's why like, are they just sacrificing people just for the shit of it?
I mean, it's
like
really
for the
the
thrill,
same thing,
or
in
do
my
they need to
opinion.
do it to get to this certain power?
I think science is just alchemy, right? Which is far more, you could easily, in my opinion, right? That's just, it's a simplification, but I think it applies.
What
you know,
is science's pronouns?
Jesus. So here's the crazy thing, though. If you remember, Cabazon has direct connections to the Finders, which we obviously had discussions on
Did
earlier.
y'all see Uncle Ted's comments earlier? He's always going on.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's definitely great. But the point that I'm making, though, is essentially that you had this interesting connection where Johnny Gosch was obviously a victim of the Finders, and that's what most of most people are unaware of, right? And if it was up to Uncle Ted, we would talk about Promise every single episode. So we'll definitely talk about it at some point, buddy. But
please come on, Uncle Ted, one day.
Yeah, call in, brother. Absolutely.
No
I'd love to have
kidding.
that,
No kidding.
But
go on.
But yeah, as far as Johnny Gosch being a victim of the Finders and a group that has direct ties to the CIA, right? I believe it was a front to procure children in a certain sense. And then you have the Finders running most of their operations from the Cabazon Indian Reservation. There was human trafficking allegedly going on there, and they were even involved apparently where others were turning a blind eye to those activities, basically. But they were working for Whack and Hunt on the reservation, engaging in basically doing biological weapons is what they were effectively manufacturing as well. Plus, if it was up to Michael Riconosciuto, I believe that's where he claims they implemented the back door into Promise, right? And was at the Cabazon Indian Reservation, which blew me away when I found that connection, right? And you know, case management software database in a certain sense at this point in time was just you know, it was a major turning point in a real way as far as just in terms of digital databases and things of that nature, and how it will effectively at least allow them to, I think, implement far more control than prior to that moment, right? And I think that or that turning point, I guess, is the best way to say it. But yeah, if you look at the other connections there from the MPD intelligence files, this report from 91 about an apparent pedophile ring at the Finder's warehouse providing children to diplomats, which mentions numerous well-dressed males who operate rental cars and expensive luxury type models entering the building in the late night and early morning, adult males with a young male child entering the building, a van which was stopped right as it was leaving the building and was driven by a man who claimed to have babysat children for diplomats, even though the neighborhood was, quote, not fit for babysitting activity. And beyond that, you also have the Fair Play for Cuba Committee being connected to the Finders, because apparently you have a member of the Finders being in the FPCC, which obviously has a direct connection to Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald, yeah.
Exactly. So how the hell can we have that obviously happen? But then here's an open letter from 2005. This is fascinating. This alleges that apparently this Sid Seymour, this doctor, right? Dr. Seymour or Seymour, I'm not certain how to pronounce his name, but he was a high-ranking Finders member and also a Temple of Set worshiper. Did you know this? So this guy, renowned and well-respected investigative reporter, apparently from Virginia, named McCullough, right? He essentially helped discover that individuals who wish to remain unidentified have said that Dr. Sid Seymour, a high-ranking member of a CIA-sanctioned child molestation ring called the Finders, and also a senior member of the Order of the Trapezoid, which was something I was unaware of until I discovered these connections here. And it's basically, it consists of worshipers of the Temple of Set. And this is, of course, consistent with what Michael Riconosciuto had to say as well, and the testimony of Dr. Seymour, which allegedly allowed, or at least exposed the fact that he was working on these illegal biological warfare research at Cabazon for the CIA and U.S. intelligence groups in Indio, California in 1982. So it all fits, right? It all fits. And Riconosciuto, the last point there, he says, so he named the doctor as being involved in the research and production of the biological weapons in Indio in the 80s. And Seymour is a PhD, agricultural, biological chemicals, apparently was in military intelligence for the Army during the Korean War. Very fitting, right? Relatives stated he was a covert operator with a high security clearance. He spent a great deal of time in Germany. He was the head chemist, apparently, for, it's very interesting because he does a lot of business with these German companies, right? And it turns out the companies have major contracts with the military and or the CIA. And so it seems as if he was also moving around in Washington, Maryland, and Oregon as well. So it wasn't legitimately only isolated.
And all those are by water. Didn't he have like an underwater lab?
It's so fascinating to actually see, like, if the biological weapons while you're trafficking children to Cabazon, what else are you doing there? You know, that really does beg the question, right? Like we have, I mean, there's far more that we're.
And Ghislaine Maxwell knows how to drive a fucking submarine. You're like, huh?
God, That's just so crazy. I'm telling you, it feels as if and for people, right, who just are unaware of what was effectively discovered in terms of the finders. It's disgusting, man. And it's something that I think Ramon J. Martinez lost his career over in a way. And when you have this, what I always found fascinating was that you basically had this woman known as Athena Veronis, who was a fixer, right? She was basically involved with the CIA, and at one point, she's yelling at. It's so strange because she worked on behalf of. She became the first FBI liaison for NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and she's directly connected in with Marion Petty. And yes, so when you understand this. Yeah, and basically there was a memo produced during the 1993 State Department inquiry into CIA involvement, and in the initial investigation, it stated the CIA admitted to running an operation that was a front for a domestic computer training operation. This is what Uncle Ted's talked about for a long time, which I covered as well in my my Finders episode. I remember because specifically I felt like this was a blatant and obvious smoking gun. Right, as far as, and honestly, I'll present this and then we'll kill this thing and get on out of here for sure, brother. But I felt the need to at least mention the fact that this was known as Future Enterprises, right? This strange company that apparently there was a front for a domestic computer training operation called Operation Future Enterprises, but it had gone bad, and that they had accidentally hired a member of the Finders cult. Oh no. It was an accident, but dismissed him when the connection to the group was exposed. It wasn't as if it was exposed and we essentially we dismissed him because of the obvious connection to this heinous crime. No, it was the fact that it flew in the face of, oh no, we're overexposed now. We have to eliminate this loose end here and at least provide ourselves with distance in order to reject this plausibly, right, that we have no connection to this organization. So then you have the CIA spokesman at the time, David Christian. He called the charges utterly ridiculous, but then proceeded to admit that the CIA sent some employees to a company that he called Future Enterprises Incorporated. And he sent them there for computer training. That's it. In the 1980s, that's all that happened, okay? Vice President of Future Enterprises, Joseph Marinich, said the company had trained CIA employees in computer use and continues to do so. And he also admitted that one prominent Finders member named Robert Gardner Terrell, or Tobe Terrell, even owned one of the raided properties and was a former IRS employee and happened to work for the company Future Enterprises before he was let go in February 1987, which happens to coincide with the exact same time the arrest took place in Tallahassee, Florida. So then Tobe Terrell later authors a book called The Game Caller. And what does he do? He implicates the FBI. He implicates an FBI agent by the name of Athena Veronis, which I had just mentioned, as, quote, the fixer, largely responsible for the cover-up. She was also the woman and FBI agent that the character Clarice Starling was loosely based on in the film Silence of the Lambs, mind you. In his book, Tobe Terrell claims that FBI agent Athena Veronis met with him downstairs at the Future Enterprises office and told him, quote, "We're going to put a lid on this thing." She would later be the very authority who completely denounced Ramon J. Martinez and the U.S. Customs documents, claiming that Agent Martinez had made all of it up. This is what this is where the claim came from, to completely discredit him, and so claimed he completely made it up, falsifying evidence in a selfish, self-serving effort to achieve a potential promotion. And this is when she conveniently becomes the first FBI liaison for NCMEC.
And just so happened to be named Athena.
Athena, exactly. It's disgusting when you realize this is in no way disjointed in terms of being directly tied in with that of the CIA. And this is an intelligence cutout. It's a front for procuring children. This is why they were promoting themselves and babysitting services and gaining intelligence on well. Is that my what the hell was that sound? I don't even know. All right. I feel like
calls dropping.
Oh, okay. Well,
shut
I
that
feel like
down.
there's really no better time than now to probably pull the plug on this, though.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say because we were talking about the Fear and Loathing and Hunter S. Thompson, and how he has like that one quote about autumn, and he's like, autumn is always a time of fear and greed and hoarding for the winter coming on. Debt collectors are active on old people and fleece the weak. They want to lay in enough cash to weather the known horrors of January and February. There is always a rash of kidnapping and abductions of school children in the football months.
Right.
And it just keeps going on, but he's just like talking about, and it's which is, kind of fitting in as far as the children being fucking taken and going into knowing about what he knew or what I guess what he covered or what he's been into. And I grew up kind of like a fan of it, just not knowing now it's like, well, shit, fuck, anybody could be a bad person, but I guess the little insight that he gave us into anything, I mean, is better than
I was
most
too,
do.
buddy. Yeah, I was too. I was. I think my very first episode of the entire podcast, I ended with Dr. Gonzo himself, Hunter S. Thompson, and a quote. A quote. I was gonna say tweet and then quote. I don't know why, but either way. But I ended it with a quote, right? As far as these two quotes from Hunter specifically, where he basically said, "Politics is the art of controlling your environment," and he also said, "I learned a long time ago that reality was much weirder than anyone's imagination." And I just felt like absolutely, there's nothing better than helping just evoke that statement in a way. But obviously, yeah, Hunter S. Thompson's a degenerate. I'm in no way
But for
defending
better
his
or for worse,
character.
it's like you had to be, I guess, that deep into it to be that insightful about it. So
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like there's I guess the silver lining of it is that he at least told us something about it, regardless. Fuck it, I don't know, whatever, if he was a bad person or not, but at least he said something in a way.
Right. Yeah, and I think, but again, as we all know by now, Hunter S. Thompson worked as a groundskeeper at the Esalen Institute in Big Sur, California during the 1960s. This is Tavistock 2.0. Talk about social engineering at levels you couldn't comprehend potentially, and helping legitimately stoke the really the hippie movement in a certain way, right? Which is what I believe they were fundamentally behind it. And also, I think this is a period within the 1960s that directly influenced his writing style and helped him develop the gonzo journalism, a unique style of his, which I always found to be, one of my favorite styles of writing to read. Honestly, I enjoyed it, but so it just very interesting because this is all connected back into the human potential movement, right? And this alternative, it's very much new age, in every sense of the word. And I think this is how they implement and really the social engineering nature of the new age esoteric ideological system of control. And I think that is what we're all enduring. We're essentially we're priority targets in terms of dissident voices, and just as far as our philosophy in life. I mean, they hope to degrade our ability to engage in reality and also bring us down to this immoral and unethical level to join them in their cause and help facilitate this dystopian outcome, and in every way push back. Both sides in Minneapolis look like shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't
It's embarrassing either way.
Yeah, be objective for once in your life and reject the ideology and find yourself some common ground, because most people mean well in the general public, as far as I'm concerned, and are just unfortunately vulnerable and naive enough to be taken for that proverbial ride. So try and find that common ground more than escalate tension and push division, because what are you accomplishing? You're only facilitating this very totalitarian philosophy that we should all inherently reject.
Like either way, it's like yeah, that especially if they're pushing it like crazy. You're like, they're forcing and they're pushing the shit out of like, look at this, look at that, and to have you like be so abrasive one way or the other, not and pick a side of the government or being like a fucking like I was saying earlier. I was like, man, they really make fighting against government overreach look super gay, and you're like, I don't want to, now all the shit I was talking mad shit about, the people I was talking mad shit about hate the government in this piece. I don't want to support that. You kind of, everyone's just back and forth talking shit about each other. And it's like, man, we're really not each other's enemies. But it's like so perfectly, drawn up. It's
we
just
have
a simulation.
Yeah, we share a common enemy. That's for damn sure. And it is, ultimately the state and the political puppets within the framework of the theater and the pageantry that they use against us at every level through the bipartisan delusion. But we better wrap, brother. I love you, Rage. I appreciate you as always.
I saw this sorry, I fucking but was one I saw this Kathy O'Brien quote earlier, and it was said, mind control slaves were allowed any drug except marijuana. The effects of marijuana on the brain are not conductive to mind control because it actually opens neuron pathways in the brain. It
Go smoke all the weed.
And I was like, I don't smoke weed anymore, but shit, I fucking probably smoke like the stupidest
You
amount
have
for the longest
to
time.
resist MK Ultra.
Yeah, and it's,
that's so
I'm glad
funny.
I did it then, and now all the government weed's all fucking stupid.
Right. Hey man, that George Soros weed,
thought.
son. Yeah, that George Soros weed. All right.
Fucking A.
I got nothing but love for you, Rage, man. I appreciate you as
I love
always.
y'all too, man.
Hell yeah. Jacob, let's do this thing. Oh yeah, I guess we should plug JJ, right? Isn't that what we're talking about earlier? Because I saw from afar one of his posts is all that I saw, and it definitely looks as if he needs he's just in a critical time where he could use a little bit of a helping hand is all. I think you're muted, brother.
Fucking boomer shit, man. I was in the background looking at this document all about liquefying people and shit. So
hell yeah.
something to talk about maybe next week or something, bring it up to you guys. But yeah, it definitely looks like, JJ, friend of all of us, friend of the community, definitely needs a little bit of help. So it basically says, howdy folks of the interwebs, Operation GCD Live will be returning to regularly scheduled shows on the 1st of February. However, currently stranded in Las Vegas without finances and an injured pup. We are en route to Tijuana for medical therapies that I paid for moments prior to old Abner boy getting shot by lasers twice.
Oh man! Oh no!
Shot by lasers twice. Yeah.
Is that Ted Gunderson? Who's that?
But his dog. He said, real world. Some dick face at the RV dealership intentionally ran him into a busy U.S. route. So ran him out into the road, and his little pup broke his leg. So.
Oh man!
Yeah.
That makes me so sad.
He's basically stuck down in Vegas with basically no money and stuck down there. So he was asking, we are currently stranded with limited to no finances in Las Vegas, and I have 10 days until medical appointment in Mexico. Currently staying in hotel credits, Good Samaritan. If any folks of the interwebs would like to assist a 100% disabled U.S. veteran and his dog, who suffered a laser attack twice.
The dog too? No, man.
We would greatly appreciate any and all assistance. So, since he's such a good friend of the of all of our channels, not to mention of Already Dead, figured I'd give him a shout out. And so here is JJ's his Cash App. If anyone wants to help him out, go ahead, scan that, or just find Operation GCD. And apparently he also has a Venmo. Let's see here. There's this one. So Operation GCD, same thing. You can just go ahead and scan that. I don't have a Venmo, but anyways, so let's come together. I figured, unfortunately, I don't have anything to share because I'm about ready to move, so I've got to save every little penny I got. But we've got a pretty wide-reaching community, so let's see if we can get him a couple of bucks so he's not entirely stranded out there. So
yeah, help a brother out for sure.
Right.
I think JJ is just a wealth of knowledge as well. I love him.
Exactly.
He's definitely a good person. So yeah, if you have the means and you can swing it, definitely. If you can help out our brother, but beyond that,
plus look at that sad little face.
Yeah, that made me sad for sure seeing that. But
me too.
But yeah, hopefully all will work out just fine, and he'll make it back as soon as possible. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm gonna share this on my page and stuff, and I'm gonna give him a shout out on my channel as well. So
awesome.
That's yeah. There we go. There you go, JJ. Hopefully this helps, dude.
Nothing but the best and nothing but love, JJ. Appreciate you as always. And Jacob, you ready to get out of here, my brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get out of here for this week.
Awesome. What do you got to plug for us?
So, anything? I mean, make sure and go check out the conversation me and Austin just had. Honestly, it was great. You can check it out on my channel or his channel. And honestly, it was great, but it's only a part 1, so it's incomplete.
Exactly.
So
no, we got
always
more.
Always got to leave them wanting more. So go check that out, and also go check out the very last show I did of 2025. It was an interview I did with William Ramsey about the occult and esoteric and satanic connections to the West Memphis 3. What was funny, me and Dana called Damian Eccles a convicted child murderer, and he cried about it, blocked us, and wrote a fucking blog post about it like a little bitch. So, you know what? Fuck that dude. He is a convicted child murderer, and I will say it to his face any day of the week. So so on that, you can check me out anywhere at Rise to Liberty. Check me out, Substack, Telegram, Instagram, all of the places. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I do my Satanic Panic is Real shows every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Mountain, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I also do shows every Friday and Monday. So that's pretty much what I have going on.
Hell yeah, brother. We'll get that part 2 scheduled soon. I'll definitely reach out. I have I think Richard coming up Thursday, and then I think Jose and I finally rescheduled for part 7 for Detroit for next Thursday, I think. So
hell yeah. So, yeah, him and I have another West Memphis 3 coming up as well too. So
awesome. Man, that's such an important case to cover as well. Just to I think the fact these guys walked is just disgusting, obviously, and
no kidding.
And, just amazing to have an example that we can point to and to kind of spotlight how effective these financed and facilitated cover-ups truly can be, and especially with celebrity influence, let's say. But anyway,
right. Well, and not to mention, I mean, those 3 men, those 3 convicted child murderers should not be remembered. Those little boys need to be remembered as the West Memphis 3. And the very fact that those 3 are out walking around, why those 3 little boys never got a chance at life, is disgusting. And we need to do everything in our power to be able to set this right.
Agreed. And yeah, Johnny Depp is a bastard, absolutely. But all right, I got nothing but love for you, Jacob. I appreciate you filling in, obviously, last second, but missed Jose, but it's always fun having a conversation with you, my friend. So
yeah, I appreciated you, and this was a good time. But yeah, I'm excited to have Jose back.
Man, Jose. All right, definitely send Jose some love as well. But beyond that, check out the Underclass podcast. I think it was episode 40 of whatever this is, just published Monday, I believe, is when I finally published it. But and then yeah, beyond that, tune in to the Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, hopefully, unless something comes up and Richard can't make it. But otherwise, it should be a lot of fun discussing some 9/11. So subscribe to YouTube. Cool. I know, man. I'm really excited to have a conversation with him. And but yeah, anyway, beyond that, check it out. And if you have the means and can potentially support in either one of us, obviously, or Jose as well, send some love our way. But I just appreciate you all showing up. It really does mean the world to me. I'm forever grateful. And Uncle Ted, I see you out there. I got nothing but love for you, brother. I appreciate you being in the chat as well. and so honestly, I hope you guys have just the best week. And we'll catch back up on Thursday. And yeah, with that, keep your head on a swivel, man. Welcome to the underclass. Right.
Right.
All right.
Till next week. See you guys.